Hey guys, this is Jessica, and today I'm going to be creating an art journal page using some of the supplies from the March 2020 Mix Me Inspired subscription. So I'm working in my large 10 by 14 Dina Wakley Media journal on one of the watercolor pages, and I'm taking some of the newspaper that's included in the kit and I'm just ripping it up into random shapes, and then I'm going to glue it down with Distress Collage Medium and a Collage Medium brush, and I'm just brushing it on wherever I want the newspaper to go underneath. And then I'm also going to play a layer on top of the newsprint to seal it so that that's protected for the next steps. And I'm going to do that for all of the pieces. And it's important to note that I didn't really leave a lot of drying time in this. So when I move on to the Distress Oxide sprays, that collage medium is a little bit damp still. And that's important because it's going to allow those oxide sprays to kind of seep down underneath into that newsprint, and it'll start to colorize the newsprint as well, which will be cool as you see moving forward in the next step. So the colors of Distress Oxide spray that I'm using are Mermaid Lagoon, Walnut Stain, and Vintage Photo. And then after I sprayed those on the page, I also spritzed a little bit of water on top and then rotated the page so that those colors started to move and blend into each other. And I'm also using the water along the edges of the page to kind of fill in that white area because I don't want the white page to show, but I didn't want to douse it with spray either. So by using the water, it allows it to move and start to create even more colors. So after I've given the oxides a chance to dry, I'm just taking a baby wipe and going over some of those areas of newsprint to reveal the text back. And then I'm taking the Mermaid Lagoon and I took the cap off, and then I'm just shaking it onto my page to create droplets of color. And I'm also going to do that with the walnut stain, just creating little bits of drops all over the place. And as I'm shaking it, if I can't get any more drops, I just dip the tip of the spray back into the oxide and shake it again, and more drips will come out. And then I'm also going over with my spray bottle and just misting little droplets of water to start to create a more of an oxidized effect. So I set my journal aside, and now I have a loose piece of mixed media paper, and on that I'm going to sketch a face with a Stabilo pencil. So I'm going to just fast forward this because I did sit and mess with this face for a little bit, and I've erased a few times so I got the face looking exactly how I wanted. And after I got the face looking exactly how I wanted, I cut it out with my scissors. And I'm just putting a layer of white gesso over it so that it'll be ready for painting. And you can also see here I cut out a mask, very Phantom of the Opera-esque. And I'm also putting a layer of gesso on that as well. And I'm not making the gesso really smooth on the mask. It's a little bit bumpy. I'm even taking my palette knife and tapping it up and down in there to create some texture within the gesso. So now I'm putting down a layer of Dina Wakley Media paint in Apricot. And I'm just spreading that evenly over the entire face and neck. And I'm keeping it very thin because I want to be able to see those lines that I drew earlier to make up the face. So very thin layer. And then I'll set that aside to dry. And the mask is going to get a layer of Dina Wakley Media paint in Umber. And here I'm just trying to, again, make it look very rough. So you can see the brush strokes, you can see it's all going every which way, and that is what I'm trying to do because I want to create a vintage look. And then I'm using my white Posca paint pen to put the white back into the eyes. I'm going to do that for both eyes. And then I'm using the green Posca paint pen to draw in the iris of the eye. So now I can bring my journal back in and the background is dried, and I'm going to put some ultra thick gel medium from Dina Wakley Media on the back of the, I guess we'll call her the girl, the cutout of the girl. And I'm making sure to put a nice even layer all throughout the entire piece, even out to the edges. And I'm using my finger. You could, of course, use a palette knife or a brush or however you like to apply media, but I just like to use my finger. Sometimes when I'm just working, it's easy. It's right there, and it's also simple to clean. So after I have a layer of that down on the back, I'm just going to center it on my page, making sure that the bottom of the neck goes along the bottom of my page. And then I'm just going to press it down. And I'm going to take some pieces of collage paper that I got out of my kit, and this was already pre-painted with this orange and metallic color, and I'm just ripping some pieces out, and then I'm going to glue it down onto my mask. And I have 3 pieces here that I ripped out. So I'm just going to apply them kind of wherever they fit. And I'm gluing this all down with Distress Collage Medium. You could, of course, also use any kind of other gel medium. Dina Wakley Media Gel Medium is good for tissue paper or whatever kind of adhesive you like to use. I used this because I was already using it. My brush was dirty, so that's what I went with. So I'm just making sure that I have adhesive on the bottom and then place down the collage paper and then put a layer on top to seal it. And then I got out my Tim Holtz Distress Grit Paste, opaque grit paste, and I'm just placing that in random spots with my finger. Some places it's a little thicker, some places it's not, and I'm creating a very organic, grungy texture here. And in the end, my inspiration was sort of a mashup of Phantom of the Opera and Steampunk. So that's where I'm just kind of going, and I'm playing around with this mask until I get it how I want. So I'm not wanting to cover all of the background of the mask with this grit paste, just the areas that were kind of empty, but I'm kind of sporadically putting it around so that not all of that collage tissue I placed earlier goes away. So after I give the grit paste a chance to dry, I'm going in with Liquid Pearls Bronze on my brush, and I'm just daubing it on top of wherever the grit paste is to cover that white, so that all I'm left with is the texture. Again, I'm being careful not to really cover the tissue paper 100%. And also, if some areas of the brown that was the background are still showing, that's great too, because I'm creating that grungy depth of texture here. And if I get some on an area that I didn't want it to, I'll just wipe it off with my finger. No big deal. And there I'm just blending the edge so you don't see the harshness between my brush and the line. So I'm just using my finger to kind of rub out that edge and do some natural antiquing. And then after that's dry, I'm going in with some more umber paint. And here I'm just putting it in a couple select places, and then I'm rubbing it out with my finger because I'm trying to really pick up that texture that's left from the grit paste. So I'm going to go back in with my Stabilo All pencil in black, and I'm going to just outline the eyes, give them a little more dimension, and start to create some of the finishing touches in the eyes. And then I'll go through and define the rest of the facial features as well, the nose and the lips. And I'm not worried about the left nostril because it's going to be covered with the mask, so I didn't even bother finish drawing that in. And now we're ready to put down our mask, so I once again pulled out my ultra thick gel medium and I'm just placing it on there with my finger, going all the way to the edge with that. Not too thick, not too thin, just a gentle coat over the entirety of the mask. And then I'm going to place it down so it doesn't cover the eye, the left eye. And now I'm going to paint in the hair using some metallic paint. It's a mixture of umber and the Liquid Pearls Bronze, and I just mix it together to create this darker brown hue. And I'm giving it the girl like a top knot bun. Okay, so now that the hair is done, I pulled the piece from the layered acetate sheets and placed it on there. And then I'm also taking one of the stones and placing it in the center of the gear. And then taking a couple additional stones and placing those on the mask to make them look like grommets. And then I'm also using the liquid pearls in bronze to create some dimensional dots directly from the bottle. And I'm just placing them sporadically on the mask. There's really no rhyme or reason. I'm just thinking, okay, where would like a grommet be to some like fastener on the mask, or any area that I think is empty or lacking texture. So I pulled a sticker out of the Tim Holtz Ideology Small Talk sticker book, and this says, "Always be on the lookout for the presence of wonder." And it's one long strip, but I'm just cutting it up into 3 pieces just because it'll take up a little more space on the page, and I like that more of that blocky look versus one strip. And I'm just placing that on my page in a tiered effect. And because they're stickers, they stick down nicely. And then I'm just using the brush. It's a wet brush, and I'm just brushing over it because it'll activate some of the oxides and kind of blend more into my page. And then I'm taking the Stabilo All pencil again and outlining those. And then going back in with a wet brush and activating the Stabilo All pencil. And then you can see it starts to create like an ashy, black, sort of hazy outline here. And I'm tipping my journal as I'm adding more water because I sort of want that to run and create even more organic texture. Thank you so much for following along as I created this page. And if you'd like to learn more about what Mixed Media Inspired is all about, I'll put some links down in the description below. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Have a wonderful day.